What up, everybody? This is Brett here once again, and we're going to be doing another series that I'm going to be looking at old cartoon shows from when I was a kid, rewatching them. They're going to be superhero cartoons like Batman, the animated series, Avatar, Iron Man, Hulk, all those older mid 90s, early mid 90s, and late 80s cartoons are what I'm going to be looking at. And to start it off with, I figured I'd start off with a show that I don't really remember much about, but I remember it being cool, and that's Batman Beyond. So I just watched season number 1, and it's definitely a very interesting concept of like, so when I remember it being played in the late 90s, early 2000s, I remember this is what they picture like 20, 30, 50 years from now. This is what the world's going to look like. Flying cars going by, all that. It's just technology up the roof, to be honest. Like, there's so much technology that you wouldn't even think of. And one episode that really like stood out to me in all this was, it was in the latter half of season 1, and it deals with what made Bane. It dealt with the venom serum. And because like the whole series goes on, the whole first season goes on, and you're like, why? How is he making time for this? Like, how is Terry McGinnis making time for be Batman's errand boy, or Bruce Wayne at this point, Terry's Batman, and being able to balance going to high school, because he's a high school, I believe high school junior or senior in this first season. I don't really know. I just know I'm enjoying the series. But like, that was my biggest question was, how's he balancing time from going to school, working all night, being Batman's lackey? And they kind of like brought it up in one of those, that later episode I'm about to talk about with the venom serum, is that he's tired. He's run down, he's tired. He's been working for Batman probably around 5-6 months. And he's worn down, he's tired. It's taking a real effect on him and his significant other at the time. And then he's got to stop people who are using the venom serum. Boom. Like it's a venom patch. He puts it on his arm. Boom. All jacked up. They're ready to go. Needless to say, he finds it. They go looking for Bane, actually. He goes looking for Bane. Bane's all old and decrepit in a wheelchair because the serum basically zapped his energy. And come to find out, it was these scientists giving it to these kids. These were kids taking it, by the way. These were like high school athletes taking it. This is very much like like a symbolism of steroids abuse in high school, and how these kids were just getting jacked and all that good jazz. Batman Beyond arrests these guys and just take them away. In the beginning of the season, you have Powers, who is part of Wayne and Powers Enterprise. He's Powers. And you see him a couple times in the first season. He's like, quote unquote, the big bad. His power is that he has radiation because he created a drug that would have killed people. But he got, Terry McGinnis in the first episode cracked a vial and threw it in his face, turned him into that, and then his scientists used high levels of radiation to cure him of it, which turned him green in basically a nuclear warhead or factory or whatever you want to call it. Throughout the whole season, you'll see they bring in Mr. Freeze, how they try to use this thing with Mr. Freeze that turns him human again, but it doesn't work. Mr. Freeze ends up killing himself, basically, so he can, because it's quote-unquote, he wants to die, so he did it. And then he shows up in the season finale, again, not Mr. Freeze. Mr. Freeze is long gone, but green guy, Powers, he shows back up in the season finale with, he has his son start running the company, but it turns bad. Their relationship is horrible in the show, Powers and his kid. And his kid, they don't get along. They just don't. So basically what happens is they are on a sub fighting, and the sub sinks to the ground, and Dustin, the son's like, yeah! We beat him, and Batman Beyond's just like, no, we didn't. He's just at the bottom of the ocean. Because he's still a nuclear reactor at the end of the day. He's probably going to resurface in season 2 at some point, because this is usually how these shows go, is that the big bad's always back. So let's talk about the technology in the show. The technology in the show is obviously far more advanced than what we have today. Like, the bat suit has basically glider wings, Like, if you guys remember Avatar, in Avatar Legend of Korra, the glide suits is basically what Batman Beyond has, is a bat version glide suit. And rocket boots to propel him through the air, plus his car slash jet thing. Like, his helmet allows him to communicate with Bruce Wayne basically whenever, allows Bruce to see what he's seeing and telling him. And that actually comes into play in one of the episodes, because there's one of the episodes, there's a hypnotist who tries to use hypnosis and mess with people's minds to control them, and Bruce is able to see through it when Terry isn't, and that allows them to defeat him. Along with the new Batarang, this Batarang comes in obviously like normal Batarang style, like Batman's, and along with they got the ice one too that will freeze everything, and that was for an ink villain who basically turns into ink. But all in all, I like the series so far. I like season 1. I'm excited to watch season 2. You'll probably get that one next week or the week after. The next season's significantly longer than the first. I believe season 2 is like 20-something episodes. So yeah, and I'll also review the movie as well for Batman Beyond. The Joker Returns. Oh, speaking of Jokers, yeah, they have this thing called the Joker Gang. They're basically there just trying to run the town. To me, they're really nothing spectacular or write home about. Not yet, at least. They're kind of bullies. Really, that's all they are. But I can't wait to see what happens to them in season number 2. Hit like and subscribe if you like this. I'll be doing this again. Bye.